Sometimes life can feel like we're watching the world from outside, just another screen in the background. But what if you could step into a more vibrant, meaningful reality where joy, self-care, and connection take center stage? Welcome to the Merriment Making Space. This is a place for those who care deeply, for caregivers, joy spreaders, and those who pour into others every day. Here, you are invited to pause, reflect, and refill your own cup. Together, we'll celebrate what makes you unique and explore new ways to nurture yourself so you can keep making the world brighter. It's not selfish to take care of yourself. It's essential. Whether it's through kindness, creativity, or reclaiming moments of joy, you have the power to rewrite the narrative. And I'm here to help you rediscover the spark that makes you. Caregivers and changemakers often feel the weight of the world on their shoulders. But imagine a life where your passion to help others is fueled by a deep well of self-love and resilience. I choose to see myself as a living icon of joy, if you will, because I have the power to brighten someone else's day just by being me. Yes, I do. I let go of the fear and even just the idea that I am
Mary,
too
you're
much or not enough.
gorgeous.
And
I'm
I
sorry, I
show
just have
up
to say that real
fully,
quick.
unapologetically, and joyfully. Let's create a life where you feel supported, nurtured, and truly seen. It's time to prioritize you. Together, we'll move beyond autopilot and rediscover what makes life meaningful. Are you ready to step into a space where joy, creativity, and connection thrive? Let's do this together. Okay, welcome. Can you see me and hear me and see my screen? We get a thumbs up in the chat. I've got a lot of screens going. Okay, great. Fantastic. All right. Welcome. Welcome to the world's most anti-instructional self-help, anti-self-help workshop. I'm really glad that you're here. This is not about fixing yourself, as we all know. This is about remembering that you are already incredible, remembering that you are maybe a little unhinged, in fact, and the best way, the best kind of unhinged. I am Mary England, and I'm a professional merriment maker, a joy researcher, occasional chaos trickster. My job is to help people stop living like they are unpaid interns for their own potential and start living like they are actually um, feeling alive, start living like they're really, building their own potential. And I've built this movement called the Merriment Making Movement, Alt Joy. And it was after I started realizing that self-help had kind of become our new framework, our new homework. And we took it as something that was supposed to be rebellious, and we turned it into another chore on our to-do list. So, first of all, just like, has anybody ever felt like that? Is that something, I mean, you're all here. Is this something like that you're kind of connecting with? I mean, when I first started teaching about self-care and self-help over 15 years ago, it was novel. There wasn't even like a section really in the bookstore for it. The only people that I knew personally that were talking about it were like Tony Robbins and Louise Hay and Sark. And now it's become saturated all over the place. And we're not really necessarily completely canceling self-help. We just want to replace it with something more human, which is experimentation. Not giving up, not fixing ourselves, but really like, let's see what happens when I'm actually participating in my own life. So if you've ever read those like 3 mindfulness books and you still have felt like garbage, or your meditation app pushes your notifications on your phone and it's like, please breathe. And you're like, I don't know, this is not helping. Or your plants are thriving, but you're not. This is all for you. So let's see, like, just in the chat, I would love, like, this is about participation. This is about experimenting. I know we're all in different spaces, different energy levels, but if you can participate as much as possible, it's so helpful for all of us. And even just like a yes, like if you've ever bought a journal, but you never filled it out, right? Let's just do some confessions here about self-help, self-care, personal development, whatever you want to call it, about like what have you done that you thought you were gonna do or that you like just didn't work for you, right? And share it in the chat. Once I read self-help is hard because we're asking the mind that it needed help and then also to solve itself. Yes. Okay. So ultimately, self-help, it's that's an amazing first observation at the very beginning. We are ultimately at the very beginning just saying, oh, our self needs help, right? So there's a difference, first of all, between self acceptance and self improvement, right? And we do need both. I am not saying that we don't want to look for our potential and move towards bigger goals and do more things. But I think part of this thing that's happening is that we're only thinking that we need to consistently improve, that we are constantly broken, that there's something wrong with us. So we're always looking for the next course. We're always looking for the next journal, the next bullet journal, the next thing. And it's become this like porn almost. And it's just like, let's just look at this and zoom out a little bit of what we are actually doing, okay? Quick housekeeping before we jump into the chaos. I want you to stay to the end. I'm going to do Q&A, so if you want to ask me anything that your brain is buzzing about, I'll be here. I'm also going to do a giveaway, and you can learn about how to get a bunch of resources for less than $1. All right, so have you ever seen these people, like the gurus? And it's like, just let's just laugh at the problem. This is my favorite way to poke a hole in what we're doing. So, like, you have like a guru voice and like, welcome, enlightened souls. Tonight, I will guide you through the 6 sacred steps to letting go of your need for 6 sacred steps. Step 1, admit you have a problem. With steps, step 2, build a spreadsheet to track your problem on not progressing. Step 3, just release it, release control, unless you can in fact color code that problem. Step 4, optimize your surrender. Step 5, forgive yourself for missing step 6. Step 6, subscribe for more steps. Yes, okay. Like, ugh, like gag me, right? So oh God, look at all these confessions flooding in. I love it. Okay, I tried following the basic self-help golden rules of exercise, sleep well, eat well, focus on your physical health. As long as you feel and look good, all of your problems are solved. Turns out they're not. I tried keeping a journal. I had to switch putting down the year and not the date because I kept it like I updated it so infrequently. Don't forget you're supposed to stop at step 4 and charge us 1K. Okay, yeah, I did include that actually. Step 6, subscribe for more steps. Yes, exactly. So even our rebellion still comes with a checklist. Now, I know that I am still part of this industry. I am part of this problem. And I am also a business, right? And when I give you steps and stuff, what my goal is never to like overwhelm you. I'm only trying to break things down into things that are more tangible, more approachable, more accessible. So whenever I or anyone tells you anything that doesn't work, or you try it and you're like, oh my God, why is this not feeling right? I still say try everything twice because the lighting might be bad. Maybe it doesn't work because you're in a place of fear or you just like, you didn't like it that day. But, you know, if something doesn't work for you, it might just not be the right thing. So just because you see or have everybody else meditating or journaling, that might not be the right thing. I've realized that journaling isn't really the thing for me. It's talking about it out loud, right? Meditating doesn't work for me. It's just breathing. You can figure out what it is that works for you. So I don't want self-help to feel like an endless group project where no one knows who the hell the leader is and everyone is just exhausted. We don't really need more steps. We need reps. Not the 6 sacred secrets, just these tiny repeatable experiments that make you feel a little bit more alive than the day before. So 15 years ago, like I said, self-help was like, you can love yourself instead of hustling yourself into the ground. And it was no one had ever talked about that before. We were like at this cusp of talking about mental health and being weird and all the things that I was like naturally talking about at the very beginning. And then it became viral, it became standard, and then it became optimized. And capitalism was like, that's so cute. Let's put it on a mug. And then rebellion turned it into a routine. And then our routine turned into a brand. And then we built an entire economy out of getting better. So now even our rest and fun has become competitive. We are journaling and cold plunging and optimizing, but we're still not feeling good. And it's not because we're lazy or we're broken or we're stupid or we're wrong or we're too much or we're too quiet or whatever. It's because these are systems still that were actually built specifically for focus and for discipline, not for our overheated nervous systems and our overstimulated brains in a world where we're actually still experiencing burnout. So we have been trying to fix our nervous system problem with like a hammer for productivity. So our mission tonight is, again, not fixing anything, to stop fixing and to start feeling, to start playing, to start having fun. We are going to get up, we are going to get weird, and we're going to remind our bodies what aliveness actually feels like. Now, again, before we get too weird, I want to name something that lives underneath the thread of this entire workshop. There are two camps that most of us ping pong between: self-love, self-care, and comfort, and self-improvement, discipline, and challenge. So historically, the world has pushed hard on the challenge side, the grind and ignoring your feelings, the avoidance and pushing through everything. This is where the people pleasing falls into. This is where just going hard and grinding until the end of the day. This is bragging about I didn't get any sleep. So we've said, okay, this is really not working, right? And we realize with self-care and self-love, which is where this like emerged from, that we were like, you know what? No, screw that. I am actually going to rest. I'm going to feel and I'm going to start healing again, which was absolutely necessary. But the problem, I believe, is that we actually overcorrected. And a lot of the current messaging lives only inside of comfort, which is to stay soft, stay safe, stay inside, only practice self-care, only stay safe, only feel accepted, only be heard. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like we kind of were like so impressed by this amazing actualization of self-care and self-love that we were like, okay, fantastic, but now I'm only going to live on that side. Comfort is essential, but comfort without any challenge becomes stagnation. So here's how I kind of think about it. Self-care is like the inhale breath, and self-improvement is the exhale, and we need both to stay alive. So what we're doing tonight is practicing the exhale in a way that feels playful and kind and accessible. It's not like a military boot camp. We're just doing happy, fun experiments that are building up our resilience without bulldozing your nervous system. Because even if you feel like, okay, I know that I maybe you feel like you're only doing the challenging parts of stuff, there's still maybe a part of you that is scared to do the kinds of things that are inside of the challenge in terms of self-respect that are maybe the right things. It's just the tweak of how we're doing it. A lot of times we're burning ourselves out and we're burning the candle at both ends, but we're not doing the things that are actually helping us. And we're also being fed this capitalistic messaging that we're putting on mugs that doesn't really mean anything. That's saying, like, just stay safe. You're perfect as you are. And again, like, I believe in holding two truths at once. Both of these things are important, inhaling and exhaling. But we need to be able to understand that the self-care is where we come to stay safe, and the self-respect is where we're like, what do I really need to do here? And what actually makes me feel good? As a mom, I feel like it's also a weird put down when I mix a self-care routine. Like I hear people feeling, say, like it must be nice or surprised when I do it instead of assuming I regularly take care of myself. Yeah. I mean, there are so many nuances and resentments and pushbacks and feedbacks about both sides of the yin yang sign here, right? Whether it is that you are making time for yourself in terms of care or growth. And you're always going to get haters, for the a lack of a better term, and negativity, no matter what side of this you're making time for, because it's about making time for yourself. And both of these things are important. And which one do you guys feel right now that you are kind of aware of that you're doing more of? And also, is this landing in terms of the reaction, the overcorrection, where we kind of explored this explosion of, wow, self-love is so important. And then we kind of like watered it down and forgot about the improvement while also keeping that as this like high metric standard. Is that making sense? Do I need to explain that in another way? And then also tell us in the chat like which one you guys feel like you are, you know, finding it the most easy to be in general. What or which one are you finding it the most challenging to participate in general? Participation. Okay. So while you guys are answering that, because you are, and I trust you, I'm going to talk about absurdism. So this is a philosophical concept that is something that I'm obsessed with, and I want to make it fun. So absurdism says that the universe doesn't owe us meaning. There's no cosmic manual, there's no reward system, and there's no guarantee that the good guys are going to win. And yet here we are still. We are laughing anyway. We are dressing up anyway. We are falling in love with dogs on the internet anyway. And to me, that is thrilling. Because if life doesn't come with instructions, that means that we get to write the weirdest, most beautiful ones ourselves. I think about it like improv theater with cosmic lighting. There's no script, there's just reactions and surprises and the occasional emotional pratfall. And I think also that it's important to remember that our nervous system actually loves improv when it's safe. Our bodies have kind of stopped trusting us, and we've stopped trusting our bodies. There's this emotional embodiment that when we have mental illness, chronic illness, and trauma, where it's not just that we're not necessarily trusting others, it's that we aren't even engaging in trust with our bodies. Someone was talking to me the other day in the Positive Pulse about how they were in a relationship and it ended, and they weren't necessarily even very sad that it ended. They were more so sad about not trusting their gut from the beginning about the red flags that they knew that they saw. And I was talking about how, that's kind of a demonstration of this, right? How we can know what is inside of us, but we don't really feel like we can trust our intuition fully because it's like our body has betrayed us before, physically and mentally, and even just our past experiences have betrayed us, let alone other people. So it's hard to trust our gut instincts, you know? So our nervous system loves to play when it's safe. We need safety in order to have a fun playground. And when we can start creating this playground that feels safe, we need reps with it. So when we start doing things that engage us with surprise, we're releasing dopamine, and laughter is relaxing our muscles, and novelty is telling our brain it is safe enough to explore. So even though these things might feel frivolous, doing things that are absurd and silly and fun and nonsensical are actually doing scientific things in your brain and body that are releasing chemicals that over time will build up and tell you and your body that you're creating a more safe environment. I'm finding it hard to actually get myself to do things on my self-care to-do list, but I have no problem doing the things that I know are good for me and make me happy, even if they seem silly or childish. Like when I do my stuffy of the day, where I choose a stuffed animal to accompany through my day and pick out matching outfits for us. But I do have problems doing stuff when I'm writing out, like, I'm going to do this and this for the day. Oh my God. First of all, I love your stuffy with matching outfits for the day. We need pictures of that in the Positive Pulse. Please share. Okay, so that seems like the comfort is coming easier and the challenge is coming a little bit harder. And the challenge for Donna is also coming harder. I'm a hermit. I'm snuggled into comfortable routines that are nice, but I am boring myself. Ooh, I'm a person who needs to explore, not to become a scholar or a deep diver, just to know what it's out there to make connections. Yes. Okay. Wonderful. Beautiful answers, guys, and deeply insightful into your own personalities, psyches, and behavior. Obsessed. Okay, so we have two for challenge. If you don't have to always write like, I mean, you can. I'm obsessed with these answers, how wonderfully insightful they are. But if you are here and you want to drop an answer in the chat about like just challenge or comfort, which one is, and just say easy or hard, that would be great as well, just to get an overall feed or read of the room. That'd be great. So going back to absurdity, I would also love to know, like, what's the first nonsense word that pops into your head? I was listening to a podcast and they were asking each other what their favorite words were, and one of them said usurp, and that was a fun one. So that's what's landing in my head right now. Another one said transcendent. That's not really a nonsense word. Uh, oh, what's a fun one? I mean, onomatopoeia is a fun one. Serendipity, that's fun to say. Yeah, yeah. So even just like playing with this, playing with your mind. So Donna was just saying that it's like they like to learn, they like to explore, they like new experiences. So the novelty, like we were just saying, is creating kerfuffle. Oh, that's a good one. Is creating more play, more fun. And by having these kind of little tiny moments is so important. Even though you don't think maybe that it is. The logic part of your brain wants to be like, that doesn't really matter. But it does. Yesterday, I I was like opening my drawer to write a piece of mail, and I have these stickers that are just like these labels, like to go on the back of the card. And there was this one that was kind of coming off the thing, and I wasn't going to use it on envelope because it was kind of getting trashed, but I didn't want to waste it. And I was wearing this yellow sweater, and I just put it on my sweater. And I realized I hadn't put a sticker on my outfit in a really long time. And every time I looked down at it yesterday, I smiled. And like, what? Why? Like, it's so simple. Nina says, I like to ask people playfully, do you have any questions or concerns after giving clarity to people? You sound like a projector. I love it in terms of human design. I love it. Okay. So by saying things like kerfuffle and serendipity and just like silly words, just doing that or putting a sticker on yourself or even just like come up with your own thing right now. Like how Nina just gave us a fun answer too. Like those are things that are hijacking your own nervous system with a sense of humor. And we're going to be doing a lot more of that tonight because play is the body's language for safety. And again, safety is what makes challenge possible. So if you're somebody that is kind of like in that state of the challenge is what's hard for me, I'm feeling it's more easy for me to be in the state of comfort, or you're even just getting the messaging and you're around people all the time. Maybe you're in a lot of, groups and therapy and you're in spaces where the language is really a lot about like therapizing and making sure that things are very, very safe, but only in maybe an intellectual way, right? And you're around that a lot, then it doesn't always necessarily give you the strength or courage, for lack of a better term, to try things in a different way. Because if you're surrounding yourself with only one kind of person, especially if you're, around other people who are going through the exact same thing as you, it's kind of like you're picking at a scab over and over again. And then you're like, okay, well, what else am I focusing on? So you have to actively dig yourself back out of that trench every time you leave a session or whatever. And we want to make sure that we are making it a specific goal for ourselves to play on purpose and moving out of that zone of like, all we need is just this safe space. We do need safe space, but we also need come or challenge and play, and to have the self-respect to know that, like Donna was saying, like, I don't want to be bored with myself. No, no, that would be awful. Okay, first merriment mission. Okay, so I made these missions. They're sprinkled throughout the workshop, and I made them, but I didn't prepare any of them myself. Like I don't have like my own props or anything. So I'm going to be doing these with you. So what I want you to do is, this is called the expedition for aliveness. So I want you to go, like, stand up, look around, find any object in your area. And we're gonna have 30 seconds, and then I want you to find just one thing. Ideally, it's something that makes you happy in a little bit of a way, something that you are declaring as delightful. And I want you to just, like, I mean, your cameras can stay off, but I want you to go find it, and maybe it's sparkly, maybe it smells good, maybe it feels soft, maybe it just makes you smile for no reason. But I want you to go hunt for it, and I want you to come back, and I want you to, and we'll just come back, and then we'll go do that. I'm gonna do it with you.
Mary, you might be muted.
I think I bumped my mic when I got up. Is that better? Okay, so come back, hold your object over your heart, and announce with full conviction, I confirm joy still exists in the wild. I confirm joy still exists in the wild. And then tell us what you found. And if you want to come on and tell us about it, you can.
A few months ago, I was experimenting with different types of samples of perfumes just because I just wanted to find my so-called signature scent. And vanilla has always been one of my favorite scents. So I decided, okay, I'll just make vanilla my, so I've got all kinds of vanilla here. Well, two different kinds of
You
full
made it
bottles.
yourself?
No, I didn't make it myself. I bought them.
Oh, well,
But yeah,
fantastic. Vanilla
but
is such a
yeah,
warm, cozy scent. I love that
I
smell.
love vanilla.
Yeah. Yeah, I love like walking into an ice cream store and I realize that it's not even the ice cream that
Mm.
smells, it's the vanilla waffle cones that smell.
Yeah. Oh,
Thank you.
coffee's another scent I like. My cousin always has a fresh brewed cup of coffee with him when he takes me to church on Sunday mornings, and I just love the smell of his car. So,
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing, Donna. Nina, did you want to share your stuffy?
Yeah, this is my buddy of the day, and we wore matching outfits. I actually changed out of the other outfit, but yeah,
Did
this
you
is
have the same shirt?
we had like similar colors on, so it was like black and white with turtlenecks,
That's
and
so
it was
fun.
fun, yeah.
Oh my gosh. What's his name?
Her name's Oksana.
Oksana.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I love this whole thing for you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. Fantastic. And Kendall was saying that the raccoon is. Oh, did you want to share, Kendall, or you wanted me to read it?
The kids took him back.
Oh, it's okay.
But
Here, you can
yeah, the reason I love, even though it's her toy, is the idea of it. I gave it to my daughter when she goes to school. Raccoon and I rearrange her room, and kind of no matter how the day went, good or bad, we know that that's like our grounding joy because
mm,
Raccoon's gonna always say good night to us in his silly voices. And so it reminds me that like I might have had, you can show him. I might have had like the hardest day ever,
oh,
but I still have to like at night be able to be a cheerful raccoon. So
that's so cute. I love it. I love it. Okay. So I also love like okay, so mine is a little duck also. It's very small. My friend felted this for me. And it has a little heart in it. And I named it Mary the duck, like Merry. And it's very cute and it sits on my bookshelf. Also, she made it have a butt. I don't know if you can tell that. It's like a very like a very bootylicious butt, which is very funny to me. Um, so and ducks make me very happy. And I found out much later in the love of my ducks that uh I that they actually represent merriment literally, like it doesn't even say joy, it says merriment when you look, like how when you can look up like what does this animal mean. I Years after I was so obsessed with ducks and made the hashtag that went like people still all over the world will message me and say I still can't, see a duck without thinking of you and saying ducks are so hot right now. I looked up the meaning of ducks and it says merriment, like point blank. So yes. Oh, Alana grabbed the coffee pot. Small serving coffee pot. I love the smell and taste of coffee and cream and agave syrup. So you and Donna have that in common. Fantastic. The universe told you your purpose. It sure did. Yeah. I did not have a choice in any of this. Yes. Okay. So fantastic. And I wanted to say like also we're noticing like a couple themes just between the people that are sharing of like the stuffies and the stuffed animals and the comfort and then also the smells. So one, I'm seeing the theme of just like the childlike essence, right? Like and things of comfort and like stuffed animals are something that I find it to be so interesting because there's still like a weird stigma around people and adults liking stuffed animals. And it's so strange to me. Sometimes I'll work with people with coaching clients and things, and they'll say like, I don't want to display my stuffed animals. I don't want to have people come over and I don't want people to know about them. I hide them and things like that, or even just like being afraid of liking Disney characters and things like that. And we're still not completely at a place where everything is fully accepted in terms of being weird or alternative or whatever you want to call it. And I'm so glad that you all are, embracing this part of you and enjoying it. And your inner child really needs to be expressed in all ways that it wants to be expressed. And then the other part that we're seeing is the sensory aspect. So that's something that's really important in terms of playfulness and the sensory, the nervous aspect of the calming down with the system and giving yourself more safety. So notice those things and why you chose these things, and then just kind of like how you're reacting to other people's shares and things like that. So the thing is that you didn't just think about joy, right, in this moment. We moved towards it. And the same way of just talking about a funny word or going to find the object and then talking about it, it's just a tiny little shift. And standing and scanning and claiming it is how we are continuing to reteach our body that pleasure is something that we can go get. When we are depressed or we're overwhelmed or we're checking out or numbing, our world shrinks to like arm's length, right? Or even shorter. And our movement and our participation in it will re expand it. And you have just re-expanded your map of possibility of delight by 3 more feet, and your brain logged that as an evidence of safety and capability. And then it also had borrowed benefits of doing this with other people and seeing that other people are doing this too. So that's how real change works. It's not just insight, it's action. Theory doesn't beat tangibility. Shelf knowledge is just shelf knowledge if we need to apply it, right? So we have action, we have sensation, and then we have insight. This is just one tiny rep at a time. I had no idea that there was a stigma around adults collecting stuffed animals. Adults be doing the most. Yes, absolutely. I used to be like that and let go of it a long time ago. Life is too short to not express myself with full force. I am happier now and I've met my curiosity and kindness with stuffies, seldomly have been made fun of or stigmatized. There's always going to be somebody, right? Unfortunately, so far, that's the way it has been and will continue to be for probably a little bit or a while or forever. But that doesn't mean that we don't get to choose what we do. Okay, so safety through surprise. Let's linger here for just a second because absurdity is not just random, it is a nervous system trick. When you are stuck in survival mode, everything predictable feels safe. Even if it's just watching the same TV show. Anybody else do that? Where you just put the same thing on in the background because you know what's going to happen and you don't want to like have to worry about how the characters are going to develop? Yes, yes, yes. Okay. But also when predictable is also dead. Like Donna was saying, like, I'm bored. I'm bored. So your world becomes beige. We don't want beige. We want color. Novelty starts your brain into noticing again. It startles it up. And there's research showing that humor and positive surprise increase your heart rate variability, the measure of how flexible your nervous system is. So, in plain language, laughter literally makes you more adaptable. That's resilience, not pushing harder, but let's be more flexible. So, that's why having fun and being absurd and not even knowing why you're laughing and letting yourself be strange feels like a breath of fresh air in the middle of oh my goodness, oh my, talk about absurdity, in the middle of like a spiral or a panic. It breaks up the monotony and the monotony of fear, really. So each weird thing that you do in your life and tonight is like secret medicine. The dosage, play. Side effects may make you feel more alive or snort laugh. Okay, next thing. We have talked enough. It's time for another experiment. Stand up again. Loosen your shoulders. And I will be cognizant of the fact that apparently my microphone has a mute button. And you are about to participate in a cutting-edge wellness technique called kinetic nonsense release. So on the count of 3, wait, I want to see you guys. Let me make sure that I can see. How do I do this? I keep forgetting how to like literally use Zoom every time. Ah! Why can't I do it? Oh my God. Okay. Oh, view. Yeah. Okay. Gallery. Okay. There we go. Okay. So, okay. On the count of 3, move your body in the weirdest way possible. Like your skeleton was assembled by IKEA and they forgot some important screws. Okay? Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Really let your bones prop you up, you know? Sound effects are encouraged. And freeze. Okay. Okay. How do you feel? Do you feel a little fizzle? Do you feel a little a little laughter, a little nonsense? It's endorphins, it's oxytocin, it's a little what just happened confusion. And your brain right now is also thinking that you might have just survived something dangerous because we're still really wired with our primordial brains. It thinks maybe you just like ran from a woolly mammoth. It doesn't know. But actually, what you survived was being serious, being too serious. So in the chat, maybe give us an emoji that's telling us your current vibe, your current feelings, your current non-physical messaging. And even if you only wiggled a pinky finger, that counts. You can't think your way into being more alive. You gotta wiggle. You gotta wiggle into it, baby. A line from Ricky Nelson, garden party. You can't please everyone, so you might as well please yourself. Yes, yes. Ooh, we got crayons. Crayons as the emoji. I love that. Your wiggling is a rep. We're talking about reps of fun. Tiny, ridiculous acts of courage that are whispering to you like, I can still move. I am still here. It doesn't have to look good. I just watched Mary pop her bones up and wiggle around on one foot. It did not look good. She has 11 years of dance experience. Where did that go? We don't know. She used to do splits. what does she look like now? We got a emoji. I like that one. That's great. Okay. And while your heart rate sinks back down, I'm going to tell you a little story from when I first decided that I wasn't going to let my mental illnesses run the show anymore. So I started going to cognitive behavioral therapy, and my therapist gave me homework because that's what they are supposed to do. So every night I had to do all these things that scared me. And one of them was to open a drawer and leave it open. And I first had to start with like 10, well, actually, it was like 30 seconds at first, and then it would build up. And I just had to leave it open. It was for OCD. It terrified me. I would cry and sweat and scream and have panic attacks and just stare at that drawer, watching that timer, just waiting to go fix it, and then do even like way more OCD ticks at the end of it. And it was like that drawer was a portal to doom. But I kept doing it every single night, rep after rep. And over time, something changed. Eventually, I'm part of my homework was increasing the time limit. But I remember one night, I forgot the drawer was even open. I had started doing other things. I was sitting on the couch and I had started making art. And I realized I had space. And that space evolved. I ultimately, like, because I described myself as kind of like a walking symptom of my mental illnesses. It was just taking up every aspect of my brain for so many years that once it wasn't controlling me anymore, I had space. Like a person who retired and is like, what do I do with all this time? But it was my mental time. So I started being creative. I started doing public art installations and writing and sharing my process online. And that really was the birth of merriment making. What started as exposure therapy turned into play. And that's why I tell people that courage doesn't really always feel brave. It feels stupid. And stupid, small bravery is how we heal. You can do all the journaling in the world, but nothing is going to rewire your brain like doing the thing that you're a little bit afraid of or really afraid of. And you gotta ramp up. Like I wasn't gonna go straight to 45 minutes. That's insane. That would have killed me probably. My heart would have exploded. I had to start with 30 seconds, micro stuff. And that's the thing that, like, ultimately at the end of the day, I really do identify with like these people that are so controversial. I get their messaging. I get people like, David Goggins and Hormozy. I really do, because what they're telling us is to go after our dreams. But what's missing from their messaging is like how to get there. They're not giving us these templates, and they're not acknowledging circumstances and like the little steps to get there. It's kind of like they forgot where they came from, even though they tell the story. And you got to raise the stakes slowly. And you got to do it with fun and be silly, and you got to do it repeatedly. These reps will create resilience, and resilience does not have to look like a David Goggins boot camp. It can look like an open drawer and a, I don't know, glitter project that you're working on your couch. Okay. Does anybody have something like that? Like, has anybody ever done something like that where you kind of have that exposure, or the play has returned as a result of creating more space for yourself? Or is there something that you want to address in your life where you're like, this is the thing I'm scared of? I resonate with everything you're saying right now. I've wanted to create content on Instagram just as a hobby for so long. I was so scared, but then I started posting on my story, and now I'm posting on my feed. Exactly. And now I've met so many wonderful people through Instagram. Yes. So that's a really great example, because so often it's about, rejection and being seen, that like the kinds of fears that are underneath why we're not doing the thing are vast. But ultimately, like, there's only kind of like a couple columns of like the root fear, So it's like, is it rejection? Is it abandonment? Is it being seen? Is it, you know what I mean? Like there's only kind of a couple fears that we're like looking at if we keep asking why, we go all the way to the bottom. But what your goal is at the top can be, multitudes of millions of things. So when you do something like this, it's about like, I want to share, I want to explore, and I want to express myself and exalt my creativity and probably have multiple other prongs of this as, part of your desire. Maybe it's making money, maybe it's connecting, whatever it is. But there's like an ultimate kind of lingering thing at the bottom of, what is this thing that's making me scared? But then through the reps, you started small, right? You started with the story, which is less scary because it goes away, and then you go to the feed. It's a really great example. And it's also pretty low stakes in the grand scheme of things, right? So that's a beautiful example. Thank you so much for sharing, Nina. Okay, next mission. This is your dramatic reading of the mundane. So I want you to bring your spirit of the stupid bravery here. Go grab another object, and this one doesn't have to bring you joy. This can maybe even encourage you to grab something mundane, something random, completely random. Go anything around you, and we're going to perform a dramatic reading. So I'm gonna grab the stapler. My stapler.
Mary, can you repeat what you said? My earpiece fell out.
Just for the mission,
Yeah, for the mission.
you want to just grab a random mundane object anywhere near you. Oops. What did I do? I don't know. Oh, God. Okay. All right. So just bring it back, and we're going to do a dramatic reading. So I want you to hold it up like you are Shakespeare or Hamlet or whatever. And I want you to imagine you are in a Shakespearean play in a Target parking lot and declare in your most serious voice, "Behold, the stapler!" Insert your object here. And then you can do a little bit of a riff on it. We can play with it. The stapler of my deepest forsaken sorrows. I have no fortitude or understanding of the words I say. I know how much it must hurt every time you punch. You punch and punch and punch. And then those times where I open thou up and expand your bones, and I don't even really ever know how to do it. It's almost like I break you. See, I cannot remember how. Seriously. How do you open it? I always forget. I do remember, though, that this was a gift from an ex-boyfriend who forgot my birthday. It's funny that I'm mentioning Target, because he went to the store an hour before I came to his house and bought this, gave it to me in the Target bag with the receipt and no gift wrap, and threw it on the bed and said, "Happy birthday!" And not even in an accent. Can you believe that? So what I said was, I will date you for 2 more years. Something like that. Yeah. My whole thing is like, date somebody for 3 years. I'm like, I used to be like, oh my God, do you have like a foot fetish and a heroin addiction? I'll get you a cab. Like, that was my thing in my 20s. Mm. You do this all the time with doing Shakespearean voices. Oh my God, I love it. Nina, do you want to do yours for us? Okay, hold on. Where are you? I gotta see you. Okay.
All right. I don't really do an accent.
You don't have to do an accent. Do whatever's
Okay,
right for
cool.
you.
Yeah, whatever. Okay. Um, I guess like yeah.
What is your
Behold.
object?
Oh, this is my object. So this is just like an aromatherapy thing.
Okay.
So I'll do like, behold the mighty aromatherapy sniffy thingy. It calms you down. It calms me down. When we're angry, instead of yelling, we can just sniff and sniff our issues away. Let us go, my friends. Sniff away, everybody.
Well done. Well
Thank
done. Beautiful. Oh my God. I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. It's so good. It's so good. You guys are killing this. It's so fantastic. I'm obsessed with you guys. Okay. So again, like this is reclassifying your environment as a theater. You aren't just changing your circumstances, right? You're changing your lens that you're looking through life through. And that's really what aliveness is. It's perceiving the ordinary with awe again. So if you're bored, these are things that you can do, first of all, but it's also about like applying this theory to action. You don't have to just hold up your stapler and do this. I mean, this is an option, but it's also about like, how can I start to look at the world with more awe again? That is also what resilience is as well, being able to find tiny glimmers in a world of weird wonder that we are in this life of that hasn't magically gotten easier for us. Maybe it's just really only gotten harder. We didn't expect to be adults. This is not what we wanted. Or maybe we thought we wanted it, but this is not what we signed up for. So let's zoom out for a second and talk about why the self-help industrial complex feels very heavy. When medicine studies disease, it will discover more diseases. And when economics studies poverty, we will end up collecting more data about lack. So what this means is what we measure, we magnify. And mental health has done this as well. We have built an entire language around suffering, but we have almost no shared vocabulary around flourishing. We can describe 40 flavors of anxiety, but we can't really name the micro movements for when we feel alive. That's why it's just like survive or thrive. Like we have like no language for it. That's why it gets so played out. We track our symptoms, but not our sensations. And psychologists call this attention bias. Your brain strengthens whatever it is trained to notice. So if we only notice what's wrong, what we don't like, what we're bored by, what sucks, we are accidentally training ourselves to be experts at what sucks. So that's why I'm saying, what if we could become scientists of fun and joy? Not to deny the dark, but to give it equal airtime. So, what's something that you could measure in terms of joy or fun or silliness this week? What's something that you could track? Like how many times you laugh snort, how many times you make eye contact with your pets, how many compliments you give your own butt or a duck's butt. Excellent field research. And I want you to tell us in the chat, what the science is basically saying in easier language is that brief positive emotions will broaden your perception and build resources for you. And that gratitude and savoring can shift your baseline over time, your mood. So, you might have heard like in general that we have like a 1 out of 10 of happiness and that some people are like more biologically predispositioned on the 1 out of 10 scale. And that is true, but we can shift that over time. And this is a way to do that. And my favorite part is that these studies are working because people are doing something, not just thinking something. They are writing and they're speaking and they're noticing and they're moving. Again, reps, not just vibes. I draw messages to myself in the mirror, or sometimes I ask my husband to leave me a surprise message. That's awesome. So yeah, you could track that. You could track how many you do every week. Excellent merriment field research. Okay, so we talked about the safety through surprise. I want to do a little bit more on this. So absurdity does sound random, but It really is the sophisticated system hack. And when your nervous system gets startled in a non-threatening way with laughter and weird sounds and sudden new framing, it resets your fight or flight loop. It's like sneezing your way out of fear. So earlier when we were, dancing like IKEA skeletons, it wasn't meaningless or frivolous. It was actual biology. Novelty is giving yourself the reminder that it is safe enough to play. And every time your brain gets that signal, your window of tolerance for joy and challenge is expanding. And seriousness is not really healing us. It's not working so far, right? So let's try something different. We need the silliness as much as the solemn, and we need comfort, and we need challenge, and we need softness, and we need reps. Our next mission. We've built up to this. We can do this. I want you to go anywhere you can in your house to an open window, an open door on any floor. And I want you to take this science outside. A balcony. Fuck no. If you can't, just turn to a different wall or something that you haven't looked at it all night. But I want you to just go out to the door and I want you to breathe, take a deep breath in, and on the exhale, make a sound of appreciation. Just say thank you out loud, out the door. You don't have to say, you don't have to howl. You don't have to scream. You can just say thank you out loud into the open. I'm going to go do it. You can even laugh outside. Thank you. Now, why was that a fuck no? Why can't we?
It's so cold.
Because it's cold?
I'm too cold. I went to the other room. I just not going outside. I actually had to get something outside and I made Matt do it.
All right. Well, it's just a second, but the sound that you're making is proof of life. Even if nobody heard you, your body did. Your lungs have expanded farther. Your vagus nerve got the memo that you exist beyond the screen. And this is resilience. You're pushing through pain and you're reminding your system that you have range. When you physically face a new direction, your brain registers novelty. Sometimes that's all it takes to interrupt a spiral, to turn, to breathe, to make a sound. And when we talk about mindfulness, this can be this. It's this. It's just change. It's disruption. Especially when we're not feeling very motivated. Tiny, almost stupid seeming shifts that are just reminding us I'm not stuck. I can still move. I can still choose. Not steps, but reps. There's also a deeper cultural problem that we've been undoing here. Joy used to be a communal situation. We danced at harvests and sang work songs and we made ugly art together. And then capitalism was like, you can buy joy and it's on sale on Sunday. And then happiness became an individual sport. We started performing our joy and curating, smiling on our algorithm instead of just really experiencing it. And our lives became content instead of about connection. But you really can't source the feeling that you're trying to portray online. You can't outsource your aliveness. It's do it yourself or nothing. So that's why a community like this matters. When we laugh together, even if we're muted or on Zoom, our brains are syncing up and we're experiencing something psychologically called borrowing benefits. It's co-regulation, not coincidence. And it's proof that our joy is contagious, not competitive. That's where our resilience actually gets built. It is a shared, repeated experience, not just this private, fake-ass perfection. The paradox, though, is that the more we chase happiness, the less we might actually feel it. But the moment that we act as if it is already here, through movement or play or with absurd gratitude, our bodies start to believe us. Comfort is telling us you are okay as you are, and that is beautiful. And our challenge is telling us that you are capable of more, and that is also beautiful. They are both true. So tonight, every mission that you have done has been a rehearsal for your living. Standing up, noticing, moving, sounding, risking the tiniest bit of embarrassment. And that's what I mean when I say you have to feel good to do good. Feel good enough to participate, to contribute, to keep going, not to be polished or perfect, just proof that you are still willing to show up. Our last mission is for, we've explored and danced and yelled and been dramatic, and now we're going to seal it with a little tiny act of generosity, something that your future self is going to stumble on later and maybe laugh about. So I want you to just grab any scrap of paper, a sticky note, anything, you can rip it off something, receipt, envelope, post-it, napkin, and I want you to write one absurdly kind sentence, something that no Hallmark card would dare print. You are doing phenomenal at existing. The floor is proud of you for standing on it. Congratulations on surviving another round of consciousness. I must have. Okay. And when you're done, I want you to fold up that note and I want you to go hide it somewhere in your house, under a mug, behind a book, inside a shoe. And the intent can be for you to find it or for someone else in your house to find it. And whenever that person, you or someone else, finds it, joy will have traveled through time. Yes, it's a great thing to like put it in like different seasonal clothes, like a coat pocket or a shoe, or even in like seasonal decorations, or just behind something that you're going to use later. Um, that's a good idea. And you can hold on to it until we leave if you want to do it later, but I'd love to see a picture of it if you want to tag me in it. And I would love to know what you wrote on yours if you want to share it in the chat and where you are planning on hiding it. This is guerrilla kindness, and this is a very low effort miracle that's available to you at all times. And this is also something that you can submit on the 11K Acts of Merriment missions. If you don't know about that, at uncustomary.org/11K. You're not just reframing joy, you're doing joy. You're turning self-help into self-doing. You are giving yourself another rep. You're saying, I matter. My presence makes a tiny dent in this universe. You've probably noticed by now that every mission tonight required you to participate and to move a little bit. Not a huge effort, but participation. Because healing isn't an idea, it is a verb. When we stop outsourcing aliveness to books and influencers and start taking our own ridiculous micro actions, we become unstoppable. We remember that our own happiness is a muscle, not a mood, and that magic happens when you are flexing it consistently, not perfectly. And the best part is that you can practice it anywhere at any time. In the grocery store, you can compliment bananas. On a bad day, you can rearrange your pens dramatically and call it art. In traffic, you can do a little shoulder wiggle of defiance. It's not frivolous. It is training. It is reps. You are training your nervous system to say that I am still here. I still get to play. I get to choose. I am in charge. My paper says you are worthy of experience all of life's sillies. You are enough to become who you will be, Caterpillar. Ooh, these are great. I would love to see pictures of where you hide them. Those are so good. Oh my gosh. Okay. Now, I know a lot of you are already inside of the Positive Pulse, but I just want to tell you about it just in case, and then we're going to do the giveaway. So we've just spent an hour proving to yourself that 5 minutes of weirdness can do what 5 years of criticism will never do. And I don't want you to let that momentum die when we close Zoom. And even if you are already inside of the Positive Pulse, I want to remember or remind you rather to use it, to participate in it. The Positive Pulse is basically everything that we're doing tonight, but just on repeat. It is a living laboratory of joy and resilience, and you get 250 resources, things that you can actually do, not just read. Stuff is added every week, so you always have fresh experiments and challenges waiting. We're adding new things before the end of 2025, like Merriment AI, which is kind of like having me a glitter brainstorm partner in your pocket. So you could say things like, give me a 60-second courage rep and I can do it in my kitchen and it'll give it to you. There are also new things coming like group forums and community spaces where you can connect with people based on your common interests. Maybe you want to connect with people who are other parents or other caregivers or who are located in your geographical location. Those are all coming. You get daily inspiration, little nudges that help keep your nervous system curious instead of checked out. It's not just a whole course that you can't finish or will forget, although there are, some structured courses in there if you want them. It's a playground where you get to build joyful resistance one silly rep at a time, and it's all only 89 cents a month. Mental health. It's something we all talk about, but how often do we actually prioritize it? The truth is, our mental well-being isn't a luxury. It's the foundation of everything we do. It shapes how we experience life, how we handle stress, and how we relate to others. But here's the thing. Cultivating peace, happiness, and resilience doesn't happen overnight. It's about building small, intentional habits that remind us to care for ourselves every single day. That's why happiness habits matter. They give us the tools to navigate life's ups and downs with more grace, positivity, and self-compassion. That's what Positive Pulse is all about. A growing library of over 250 joy resources designed to help you feel better, think kinder, and live brighter. You'll find classes, challenges, and community, all for just 89 cents a month. That's 3 cents a day, less than a gumball, for daily happiness habits, mental health support, and genuine connection. If you're ready to make happiness a habit, feel more alive, and have fun doing it, Positive Pulse is waiting for you. Join us at uncustomary.org/pp or tap the link in my bio to start today. So that's the general overall energy of the Positive Pulse and just kind of a peek into the library, the app, the missions, the real people in there. And if that's kind of the support that you're interested in or craving, then I do recommend joining us. It's not like a fix yourself before you're allowed in. It's just come exactly as you are, and we'll build this together. And for some of you, it's going to be the first community that treats you with like how joy can be both comfort and courage, where feeling good isn't just the finish line, it's a launch pad for doing good. And this is a really great testimonial from one of my people inside of the Positive Pulse. They said, I'm on just my 4th day and I've already learned a technique to calm myself instantly. And I love this because it's showing really what Positive Pulse is not. It's not maybe someday you'll feel better when you finish this 12-week thing. It's within a few days, you're already getting your nervous system to look like something that you can use, you can get real tools in real time. So if you've been feeling stuck in endless theory and reading and watching and consuming, this is the opposite. We have tiny practical experiments that help your body to feel safer now, so you can actually start trying new things in your life. Is there anybody here that would like to have that more? Is there anybody here that's actually already in the Positive Pulse? Is there anybody here that's like getting something out of the Positive Pulse and enjoys it? Anything positive to say about the Positive Pulse? Any feedback at all? I also want to show you that you do get some full classes in there just for 89 cents a month. One of them that I'm showing you here is called Jumpstart Your Joy. It's 5 days of lessons, coaching, workshops, downloads, bonuses, and a lot of memberships give you either little tiny feel-good posts or big overwhelming courses, and the Positive Pulse is designed as a mix. So, we have micro rituals for days when you only have 60 seconds, and we have full classes for when you want a deeper reset. So you're getting things like the 30 Days of Happiness calendar and the 1 minute a day joy challenge, the Happy Year class, and the Jumpstart Your Joy class. And the Jumpstart Your Joy alone could be something that I could sell for $50, but it's just one thing that's sitting on your shelf when you walk in the door for only 89 cents. So whether you're in a season of like, I can barely only do one tiny thing, or I'm ready to finally move the needle, there is a path that's here to respect your nervous system and finally invites you to grow. Kendall says, I love finding a podcast episode that matches with my blog post about what I'm feeling about. It helps me to share more thoughts beyond my own while also you say things that I'm feeling better. I love that. Thank you. Lori says, I'm in. Dita says, in it, and I enjoy it a lot. I'm only on the free plan, but I'm enjoying the membership. And when I have financial means, everyone is super nice. Wonderful. Okay. And then I wanted to show you, it is less than 3 cents a day. We had somebody that is like a month in, they told us that they went to therapy and they told their therapist about the Positive Pulse. And I was like so flattered about that because, the fact that people feel proud enough to tell themselves their therapist about the Positive Pulse and this community means so much to me because it's really not about bypassing pain or pretending that everything is fine. It's about giving your therapy and your inner work somewhere to land in real life through these missions and joy experiments and community. And also, I remember this other person in one of my other programs said, like, I'm actually getting better resources here than in therapy. Like, this is just cheaper than therapy. And I'm the same teacher here than I am in that program as well. I just for your own edification, in case you don't know, I have 2 degrees in psychology. I worked at a psych rehab for 5 years. I have my own personal diagnoses and have been a consumer of mental illness on that end in a personal way for 20 years. And I just know a lot about this, and I've had my own business for 13 years. So this is not something that's like a pastime, and all of my theories and teachings are based in science as well as fun. So when someone's therapist is also excited about the fact that their client has found support and this is the way, it's telling me that we're doing something that's actually grounded and sustainable, not just like a tote bag slogan. The Positive Pulse is something that happens when you combine evidence-based nervous system care and absurdity and art supplies. And from a philanthropy angle, I also might want to speak to like maybe a different kind of person in the room because maybe you're not even sure you're going to use the 250 resources. Maybe you are somebody who doesn't want to listen to audio or video resources or do worksheets or any of those kinds of things. Maybe you're overwhelmed at this point, or maybe you are already in other programs, or you just came here tonight to get a spark, but you do care about kindness and you do care about other people having access to resources for their own mental health. So right now there's 1,000 people inside of the Positive Pulse. And for me, it costs $600 a month just to keep the doors open before my time, energy, new content, or running ads to get more people aware about the Positive Pulse. So when you join for 89 cents a month, you're not just getting a playground for your own weirdness, you're actually also doing a small act of philanthropy to help us keep the lights on, because you're not just helping, like you're helping us keep these resources in this community accessible for people who might not be able to pay more, especially folks that are navigating mental health stuff and money stress at the same time. So if you have been looking for a simple, tangible way to contribute to the 11K Acts of Merriment experiment, then honestly, joining the Positive Pulse totally counts, and your membership can be one of your kindness reps. And then this last testimonial also makes me smile because as soon as I put up the fact that we were starting to charge 89 cents a month, which is still an incredible deal, the first person that wrote said they couldn't wait to click the button, and they said, I want to click the button. The link isn't working for me. How can I make this work? Because this is an absolute bargain for this light of a community. And when you do the math, the Positive Pulse works out to be 0.003 cents for each resource, and we're always adding more. And that's kind of ridiculous. But really the part of this testimonial that matters to me is this light of a community, because you're not just buying access to spaces of PDFs and resources, you're also stepping into a space where other people are actively rehearsing their aliveness with you. And your weirdness is a winning strategy and not something that you're having to hide. And you're encouraged to seek both comfort and courage, not to expend one for the other. So For less than a price of a sticker, every month you get those nervous system tools and joy missions and creative prompts and playful accountability and a group of merriment makers that are cheering on your reps. So I'd love to have you inside. And if you're wondering what is inside, here is a list of topics. We talk about daily happiness habits, mind and mood care, mental health, self-love and esteem, perfectionism, inner critic, inner child, weirdness, fun, body love, the courage to leave your comfort zone, feeling stuck, hopeless, or on autopilot, burnout and caregivers, boundaries, creativity, getting motivated and making goals, community and connection, spreading joy and kindness missions, remembering that you're alive, philosophy, and how to work happier. So, whatever reason or season that you're in, whether it's I'm barely hanging on or I'm really like ready to do brave things, there's a space for you inside of the Positive Pulse. So, if you have any questions about joy, resources here inside the Positive Pulse, please let me know. I'm in it. I'm better doing small random things. I suspect that I might be ADHD, not diagnosed. So that's the best approach for me. Besides serendipity, I love the unexpected. Fantastic. Okay. So next thing is questions. If you have any questions for me right now that you want to ask me, you get a free little coaching moment for right now. Any questions about joy or resilience, weirdness, community, creativity, you can drop them in the chat and I will answer as many of them as I can. And while you're doing that, I will take a look at who is still here and I will put your names into a random name generator for our giveaway. Ooh, oh, it claps. Can I move this over here? Can you see this? It's Nina. Oh, Nina won. Yay. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, so Nina, oh my God, you get to choose. You never win giveaways. Well, this is a magical universe with me. So you get to choose if you want merriment mail or good news texts for a month. So just let me know and then email me or DM me. Okay. All right. And if there's any questions or if you guys want to unmute and ask me anything, you can. And otherwise, we are pretty much done. I wanted to just close out with this. Love this safe face. Thank you. You're so welcome. So I want you to just kind of look at the screen and repeat this with me. You maybe want to put your hand on your heart and we'll just end out with this. I hereby reject perfection and choose participation. I vow to take tiny, silly, courageous actions, even when they feel uncomfortable. I choose joy as my rebellion and resilience as my practice. And I promise to keep showing up, especially when it's weird. Of course, you can absolutely screenshot it. We can cancel the self-help, but we can keep the self-experiment. Because honestly, you do have to feel good to do good. So thank you for coming. Thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for playing, for moving, for being gloriously human tonight. I will see you inside of the Positive Pulse or out in the wild making your own very good news. And if you're in Baltimore, I will be at IKEA on Saturday doing Operation Merriment. We're going to be spreading capsules through the fake furniture settings, and you can come do that with us on Saturday afternoon. So I love you. Please feel free to DM me. You're very welcome, and have a wonderful rest of your evening. Bye.